What up, fellow nerds? We have breaking news. We're going to tell you here today, as we are the first and only news video network on the internet.
Yes, no one's ever heard of anything else. It's just us. And remember, subscribe to us, like our videos, hit the bell to be notified of future videos.
And share with your friends. And what should you share? Sony and Marvel Studios have broken off negotiations. Spider-Man is no longer in the MCU.
No more.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go, sir. Please. Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
I don't want to go, Mr. Dave.
Don't worry, everything's going to be okay.
Thank God. We are here to talk about the recent news that came out about the deal or lack of deal that happened between Sony and Disney Studios between Spider-Man. So they were discussing, apparently, who was supposed to make the majority of the money for these movies, for the Spider-Man movies, and they could not come up with a final deal.
Yeah, basically what happened, the MCU was basically borrowing Spider-Man from Sony, who had the film rights to them. And under this deal, he was allowed to show up in Marvel movies, and they would do basically the production work and everything on the Spider-Man movies with him in the MCU, and Sony was making all the profits. Basically, Marvel was producing them, paying for them. Sony basically paid for them to be made, and I think Marvel got 5% of the profits, and the rest went to Sony.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they wanted to change the deal. There's been differing reports that Disney or Marvel Studios wanted 50% of the profits, other outlets saying 30%. So we don't really have all of the information. But basically, Sony decided to walk away and say, we'll make our own Spider-Man movies.
You know, and Disney did get all of the merchandising.
They did, yeah.
You got all that. But from what... Now, this is a rumor I heard either today, early today, or tomorrow. Yesterday.
He's a time traveler.
I'm a time traveler. This is going to happen. Is that Kevin Feige had been involved in all the Spider-Man movies going back to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies. And he didn't get credit for it. He was just like doing it out of the goodness of his heart, I guess. But they're not going to allow that anymore without having a little bit more stake in it. That's what I've heard.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, why should he give up his time for free?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Especially, Spider-Man Far From Home is the highest grossing Sony film of all time.
But, I mean, think about this. Okay, what good Spider-Man movie did Sony ever make on their own other than possibly Spider-Man 2 of the Raimi trilogy? And I guess if you count Into the Spider-Verse. Excellent film, by the way.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, if you count Into the Spider-Verse, that definitely counts.
But live-action Spider-Man movie.
And I liked Venom, who's kind of in that Spider universe. Fun movie. Not a great movie, but still had some enjoyable moments. But, yeah, they do not have a good track record with making...
Well, movies in general. I mean, come on. Emoji Movie.
I just think that since Spider-Man did so well, this new one, and they just kind of think they can take it from here, they can ride that wave, I think they're making a mistake. I don't want to put them down. I don't want to say anything bad. I just think that that's a mistake on their part.
You're not the only one who thinks that, though, because the realistic part of this is the way they reintroduced Spider-Man. He was introduced into the MCU. His introduction was in Captain America: Civil War. Mm-hmm. So that's where he was. That was his. This is new Peter Parker with Tom Holland. I mean, he's so entangled, pun intended, in this web of the MCU that, I mean, for Sony to walk away and think that they can somehow still get away with making a Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland in that universe without mentioning anything Stark, without mentioning the blip, without mentioning anything else that had to do with the MCU, I don't see how they can do it.
And I don't think that the Sinister Six movie that they got an idea on, now it got shelved for a while, and I'm sure that they're going to bring that back in. I don't know if that has enough to carry it.
I don't think it ever had enough. They have been wanting to do a Sinister Six ever since the Sam Raimi days. They wanted to shove a bunch of villains onto the screen, which is what got them to do Venom, Sandman, and Green Goblin all in one movie. They were testing the waters. It didn't work out, really.
Yeah, that was 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they wanted to do Sinister Six and introduced the idea in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Did not work out. I don't think they have anything really to go off of other than the fact that they really want to do it.
Well, and at this point, now that he's been in the MCU, and it's almost what every comic fan wants, is him to be a part of this larger universe with the
Yeah.
other heroes. He's already been there. It's going to be really hard to step that back
Oh,
and
yeah.
have people have that kind of interest. I mean, you're basically, any movie in the MCU right now that comes out, Captain Marvel was pretty unknown, made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Black Panther made $1 billion. It's not necessarily doing it because of that character, but it's because of the part of the MCU.
They know how to make movies.
Yeah. You know,
Guardians of the
ser-
Galaxy? Who? I never
And
even really heard of them.
They love the continuality of the story. I mean, you don't have to watch each movie, but you know they're all interrelated. That's something
Oh, yeah.
that people.
But a lot of
like.
people do see it just because it's part of the larger story.
Yeah.
And if they do reboot Spider-Man again, because Tom Holland, from what I hear, has an out. He does not have to come back and play Spider-Man again. And
He's signed a contract?
there's a rule under the contract. Once again, speculation, things we've heard, I don't know how true it is, that he can opt out of his contract.
I saw him in an interview saying that he didn't want to do a movie outside the MCU. So I mean, if he does have that out, he might take it.
And for those of you playing the home game, he did stop following Sony on Twitter. So
Oh, that's amazing news. I did not know that. That's great.
Don't get me wrong, I liked Venom. Venom was a good movie. If they're planning on building their universe off of that movie and then including Spider-Man later, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like
Yeah.
they're all thinking.
I
into the
disagree with
future
these
there.
two. I thought Venom was fine-ish. It was okay. Wasn't great. I didn't like the way it ended. And I never liked the idea to begin with of them making a Venom movie that excluded Spider-Man. It never made sense to me.
see, it didn't make sense to me either. But when I saw it, I did enjoy it. I didn't leave the theater going, "Yes, man, that's
Yeah.
Rosebud of our generation." But I did. I was entertained while watching it.
Yeah, it was
you
a good
know,
movie.
and I
I chuckled a few times.
It was better than Thor 2. Come on, you got to give it
Oh,
that.
I don't even remember Thor 2.
Iron Man 3 is better than that too.
and I think it all comes down to it isn't over yet. I
No.
think a lot of this is posturing on both sides.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they can come to some. This is billions of dollars. Figure
Oh,
it
yeah.
out. And I know greedy corporations are not going to go, well, let's do what's in the best interest of the fans. They're going to try to do what's best for them. But there's enough money out there that they can make this work and make the fans happy. And I hope, calmer heads prevail and they get back to the negotiating table and we hear about, Spider-Man running from home or Spider-Man in the new Avengers, anything soon, because this news broke on, was it Tuesday?
Yeah.
Out of the blue. There was no rumblings about this. Before Far From Home came out, there was a lot of talk that Sony can opt out of the deal if Far From Home doesn't make $1 billion.
It did.
Yeah,
It
that's
did.
true.
It was a great movie. It set up something that I think that everyone wants to see in that first mid-credit scene where J. Jonah Jameson outs Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Yes. Oh,
And to
spoilers.
end- yeah, oh yeah, sorry.
If you haven't seen the movie, I'm sure you have. It's made $1 billion.
We may never see that storyline play out, and that is very disappointing.
Yeah, I think just
Yeah.
like I thought with the James Gunn firing, when I thought, all right, I always had it in the back of my mind. I hope he comes back, and then he did come back. I think this might be a situation like that where, it seems bleak now, but they're gonna work it out. And the next Spider-Man isn't supposed to come out till 2021. I think that was the original plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got time. They got time to work it out. I think they will.
Well, and I wonder too if they were going to announce something at D23 this weekend, and now they're backpedaling like,
Whoops.
"Oh, can't talk about that next Spider-Man movie yet."
Quick,
know-
change all the graphics.
I noticed he didn't talk about it at San Diego Comic-Con. That was like he mentioned all the part 2s and part 3s, but he didn't say anything about Spider-Man.
Do you think they were negotiating at that point?
Probably.
And didn't want to say anything on the thoughts that maybe this was going to go south?
They might have.
Yeah, I think so.
Hadn't considered that.
I didn't think of that either. That's probably true, because these negotiations have probably been going on
Oh,
for
yeah.
a while now.
Yeah, especially when they noticed how well they're doing, they probably said, "We gotta
But
renegotiate
again,
this."
why was it doing so well?
It was doing so well because it was in the MCU.
But Venom made almost
Oh
$800
my
million
God.
dollars,
Okay.
and Far From Home made $1.1 billion. Spider-Man and Venom will make $2
Let's
million.
make them fight, guys.
It's math, you guys. 1.1 billion and 900 million, 2 billion.
I find fault with your math.
Well, it does add up. But a combination of the two, you got to take the average.
That's not how this works. It's not how any of this works.
I'm using my calculator. The math adds up.
Oh, Sony. Okay. Well,
here's hoping. Here's hoping you can get it back together, guys.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I honestly hope that this is not the end of Spider-Man in the MCU, because that would be a sad day for fans all over the world.
And Dave pointed out earlier.
What did I point out?
Camera.
Oh. Yeah, we are using a Sony camera to shoot this, so this could be the last time we get to mention the MCU.
Well,
that'd be a sad day.